I think one of the first times we are here to discuss the Chicago Sky's big win over the Phoenix Mercury, just winning by depth. Outside of that second quarter, they won every other quarter other than that. So we're going to talk about that today on Chicago Sky Central. But first, we got to get to our intro. All right, y'all. So this was a fun game to watch. I love when WNBA games on like a Saturday air midday. Like it's just something fun. Like during the course of the day. And this game did not disappoint. The Chicago Sky now move to winning 9 out of the last 11, I believe, moved to 15-5 with 16 games left in the season. They are now tied for number one record in the league with the Aces. Cat somewhere around here. I can't find her. But with that being said, this was like I said, fun game from the Sky. The Sky having a bunch of players scoring in over double digits, well deserved. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on, sorry. All right, I had to take care of the cat. The cat all of a sudden popped up. But the Chicago Sky is tying the Aces for the number one record in the league, and this is one of those wins. And just when you watch this guy play and the way that they're methodological, what I keep saying that word incorrectly, but just the way that they move, the way that they play basketball, the way that they execute on both sides of the ball. Like I said, outside of that second quarter, which really did not go the way that I think anybody would have thought or hoped that it go for the Sky. Outside of that, they just played a total basketball game, and especially when you have a game in which the Mercury Taurasi just did not play into the way you expect Diana Taurasi to play. Only in 27 minutes, only 2 points, 1 for 6 from the field. But the Chicago Sky came in here and they took care of business. Like I said, Diggins did go off 25 points from Diggins, and Diamond DeShields, former Sky player, with 21 points off the bench for the Mercury. But other than that, it was all Chicago Sky all the time. Sorry, y'all. It's the cat. But yeah, having a bunch of players in double digits, and what Candace Parker, Mieseman, quickly, Ka, and then also Gardner, all scoring in double digits. So a bunch of players in double digits for Azuri Stevens as well. Came on big in the second half at a plus minus of plus 13, scoring 8 points in the second half. It was just a really good game for the Sky. The Sky just came in and they did and executed what they need to do. Like I said, on both sides of the ball, shooting over 50% from the field in this game, and right at 50% from 3-point range as well. They did what needed to be done. And Candace Parker, again, 14 points in this game. The Sky are the deepest team in the league, and when they play games like this, it shows. Everything shows, and that you can see why they're doing the way they did. Brick Boy Forever said Sky whooped some ass today. Absolutely. They absolutely whooped some ass today. And it was deserved to whoop some ass today. Like they just played and looked great. Like they completely outclassed the Mercury in today's game. And it wasn't even close. Like watching this game, while they did get the lead down to single digits at certain points in this game, it never really felt like the Mercury were any real threat to take over the game, did it? Like it felt like the Sky had this game underhand the whole entire time. Comment Mickey. What? I have no idea what that's in reference to, but nonetheless, the Sky just did what needed to be done in this game. And this is one of the things that when you look at this team, right, and look at how this team projects going forward. Like even, for example, like in this game, Evans, like Dana Evans is just like only 23 years old, and you can see her absolutely as somebody being the taking over the starting backcourt point guard whenever Sloot does retire. But only 7 minutes in this game. But in those 7 minutes, she came in 2 for 3 from 3-point range, hitting 2 big threes for the Sky, just being active in the way that she moves. But one of the people that really did impress me in this game was the 31-year-old rookie, Rebecca Gardner, right? The way that one of the things that I'm noticing with her, and that like this is one of those basketball things that like if you're not really a basketball analyzer and watcher, it may never really resonate or hit for you. But the way that she moves without the ball, not only does that create opportunities for her, but how it creates opportunity and easier shots for the other women out there on the court. The way that she just goes about her business, like she's just a smart basketball player, a high IQ basketball player. Like I said, the box score isn't always going to, for a player like Gardner and the way the Sky users, not always going to, show what impact she has on the game. But I look at it and she played 23 minutes. And in that time, scoring 11 points, going 3 for 6 from the field, but getting 5 for 6 from the free throw range, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. Like that may not seem like a lot, right? You may look at that and say, hey, that's solid, right? But the way that she moves, the way that she plays defense, like it just creates, and it's just such beautiful, flawless, high IQ basketball. And that's what's going to make things change. I couldn't see the chat. Oh, that sucks. That audio was buggy. Hold on. Test. All right, everything should be good now. Let me know the audio should be a lot better. My bad. Every once in a while, you got to restart the equipment here. But let me know if the audio is better, guys. Those are still in the live chat. But let's see. Brick Boy Forever says Dana has been decent after they won the chip. Yeah, I mean she's still young, 23 years old, right? So I'm not saying that you don't want to thrust her. And that's why, one thing that I am worried about with this team, and it could all be for naught. I don't mean to cause like any worry or concern, but like the fact that they gave Sloot a 1-year deal, right? I hope that they don't let Sloot walk. I hope that Sloot she's a Chicago legend at this point. And I know a lot of people don't watch the WNBA and they may say that, but like she is the Chicago Sky in many ways. You can't just let her walk. Like you have to resign her. But that's why I say whenever it's time and whenever Sloot is ready to walk away from the game, Dana Evans has plenty of time to develop. And she's not quite where you need her to be now, but like she just shows flashes of what that total game is going to look like once she does get it all together. The athleticism is there, the defense is there, the activity is there. Basketball IQ in certain situations, I think she kind of rushes it sometimes, but that's just a nitpick if I had to do it. If I had to nitpick something, but still an extremely young player, 23 years old. Even if it takes her another 3 years to develop, you're talking about a 26-year-old player in a league where the women play into their mid-30s. She's still going to have a long career ahead of her, but I do like a lot of what I see from her, a lot of what I see from Dana Evans. Like, again, Ka is the Chicago Sky as far as the best player. That's why she's the highest paid player, even over Candace Parker on this team, and she deserves that. But I look at what Dana Evans and what Ka could be as a backcourt if and when it comes to that, and there's a lot of promise there. There's a lot of promise there. And I really look forward to seeing her and her continue to develop on this team. And I look at Evans, like I said, as somebody who is the heir apparent for Sloot when it's time, but we don't need to rush that time. You need to bring Sloot back. Sloot is a legend. Like, I don't want to see Sloot not on this team. I have some really, really big issues if they just let Sloot walk. So the Bulls trade, this is Chicago Sky Central right now. We are not talking about the Bulls, brother. Let's give the women and this sport some respect and focus on this sport while I'm streaming on it. That's all I can say with that. They deserve that. Jordan says 100. Yes, absolutely. Like, and then let's talk about one of the things with this game, right? And the reason why I love the WNBA for what I love it for, yes, they got some issues that they need to fix as a league. They have to get more merch. Like, as you guys know, I wear Chicago sports merch 90% of the time, unless I have to put on regular clothes to go somewhere. The fact that even on the Sky website, there's like 5 t-shirts is a problem, right? The hat is dope. The black and white hat they got is dope. But Dana Evans is just Dana Evans, Kalia Cooper. Like Cooper, I always say Cooper Copper. Ka is just one of those players that I always send people her highlights when people are like, hey, tell me a player in the WNBA that I should follow. I always send Ka's highlights because she is like, I always compare, she's like the WNBA's version of Derrick Rose. Like, and I mean that. Like, she's just out there flawless, and she's been hobbled a little bit. She had some knee trouble. She hasn't quite gotten to the 2 games she's been back from that hasn't had a huge impact as far as scoring wise, but she's amazing, right? She's an amazing player, an amazing basketball player. And she deserves, and the women in this sport deserve more respect as well. Haize, I watched some of Kalia Copper highlights after the last live stream, and you were right. She is definitely a hooper. She's a baller. She's literally a baller. Like, and the way that she goes about her business, the fact that she goes into a level of aggression sometimes that we don't even see. Like, for example, Chicago Bulls fan. I'm in Chicago Bulls merch right now. She goes into a level of aggression that we don't even see from Patrick Williams sometimes, right? And when she does go, like when Copper goes into a different level, when you see that she's like zeroed in and she's in that mindset of I'm about to get this bucket, you ladies stop me if you think you can. It's amazing basketball every single time. Her handles, the physicality, right? How physical she gets on defense is not something you see all the time. Like, it's just she's an amazing athlete, and Copper just she deserves the world, and I'm happy that she's on this team. I'm happy that the Sky got her. I'm happy that of everything. She's just an amazing player. So yeah, Steve-O says got good ass game. Absolutely. uh Rodon says, all right, Chicago Sky. Yeah, and I don't mean to like completely shut you down, man, but I'll be streaming on the Bulls a little bit later today, so we'll have the every opportunity. Jordan, certified bucket. She is absolutely a bucket, and that's why I say, like, when she goes into that mindset of I'm about to score. There's 5 of you on this court that's on the opposite team. All 5 of you can try to stop me if you want to. I'm about to get to this cup. I'm about to get to it. And every single time she does, and you know what? Another thing though about Copper that is amazing is that she's also not selfish, right? So she'll go into that to say, "Hey, stop me." But then if the defense collapses on her, she makes the pass. Like, she's a willing passer, and she'll pass it to her teammates that are open, and we still get a bucket. She's an amazing player and a great shooting guard in this league, man. It's amazing to see how she plays. Steve-O Speak says, Copper is who I send for regular basketball fans who love the game, watch full games of Sloot. Absolutely. Like, Sloot is a technician, right? Sloot is just one of those, like, she's going to be a coach. She has to become a coach in the WNBA, right? She has to, because the way that she understands the game, the way that she runs the team, right? Sloot can go off, right? And I think people sometimes forget that Sloot can get you a bucket almost any time too. And she's an amazing shooter. Her and Quigley, both as shooters, are amazing. But I think that people forget that, like, it's her unselfishness of why she doesn't average more points per game sometimes, right? It's because she's a true point guard out there. She runs that team. She gets other players in other positions. She sacrifices her own game to make other players better around her. She's absolutely one of those players that is just like, and that's why, like, Sloot to me. So I got into the WNBA heavily, right? I kind of watched it since it started, just offhand, a couple of games there, here and there. But seeing Sloot and Della Don together, it was just like, to me, it was like, all right, listen, I gotta take note of this. Like, and I think that was around the same time that, like, just me as a basketball observer grew and just my intelligence of the game. Because keep in mind, I was a football player growing up. I appreciated basketball, but I was a football player. But that happened at the same time, and I was just watched the Sky at that time, and I was just like, these ladies are nothing short of amazing. And Sloot is just one of those players too that it's like, athleticism be damned, like, and she's not like a terrible athlete. I don't mean that by any stretch of the imagination, but she just makes basketball so much easier for the players that are out there with her, right? And I guarantee you those players appreciate her and have absolutely thrived because Sloot was out there on the court with them. Period. It's a few ladies I love to watch outside the GOAT, CP3, Ka, Aja, and I would love to see how Sabria comes along. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there wholeheartedly. There's a lot of great players in this game. A lot of them. This is a Sky channel, so I focus on the Sky, but there's absolutely just some amazing players and athletes in this game. And that's one of the things that I always say, right? For people who, like, say, hey, the WNBA is an inferior sport, when they really just mean, hey, there's no dunking in it. Like, you guys got to educate yourselves on basketball if you're going to talk. Now, and I don't mean you guys in the chat, because this is the Sky channel. I'm sure anybody who's in here watching the Sky live stream definitely understands the game of basketball and how the WNBA is in many ways superior to the NBA, because the players just come in with higher basketball IQs. They execute better in the WNBA. The fundamentals of basketball are fundamentals for a reason. And the ladies in the WNBA, like, you have players in the NBA who literally only get by on athleticism, but couldn't explain to you a drop coverage to save their damn life. You don't have to worry about that in the WNBA, right? The players they have some physical limitations as well, right? Absolutely. But as far as understanding the game, I feel like the ladies in the WNBA come in with a way better and higher IQ of the game, the ins and outs, the X's and O's of basketball than most men do in the NBA, right? That's how I feel wholeheartedly. And I'll say that and scream that till the cows come home. Because it's just the truth of what this league is. And it sucks that people don't appreciate it more because it's just good basketball to watch, right? People will watch the big three because it's dunks and it's old men out there, but won't watch the WNBA game because it's women. And that's disgusting in a lot of ways. Steve O Speaks says, love watching Vegas in general. 100 brick. Hey, I do enjoy watching Vegas as well. But one thing I'm starting to see with the Vegas Aces, in my opinion, is that the WNBA is starting to push them like the NBA does the Lakers. As far as like every conversation somehow goes back to the Lakers. Every conversation goes back to the Lakers in the NBA or some type of way. Like it's just all aces all the time sometimes. And then even watching the half game show in this game where they were talking about the All-Star selection and all they said was, oh, the aces are very represented in the All-Star players that are out there. And it's like, hey, the Chicago Sky are just as good as the aces, and we have more players in the All-Star game, but didn't mention them, right? Other than Cod, nobody else got mentioned. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's really wild how things are going. Haize, who you keeping, Jackie Young or Plum? Plum. Come on, man. Like and if it comes to it, it's Plum to me. But hey. Rodon says Chicago Sky first in the Eastern Conference, blown out Phoenix Mercury 75-91. Yes, absolutely. Is there a set best player on the Sky, or is it a toss up like Zach and DeMar? It really is game to game. So like Copper is, I think, widely considered the best player on the Sky, and rightfully so. As far as just pure, just a best player, I think she's the best player on the Sky. But Candace Parker's, you can make an argument for her because the way she stuffs the stat sheet, right? She doesn't. She's the Grizzly vet at this point, and she just comes in and does what needs to be done. So there's some games where Candace Parker goes off scoring wise, but there are a lot of times where she doesn't need the ball necessarily called for a lot, where she may only get 10 to 12 points a game, but she'll get you also about 8 to 10 rebounds, get you about 6 assists in that game, get you a couple of steals, a couple of blocks. At this point in her career, she's really just playing that role, that veteran role of, all right, listen, I'm going to be, if we get down in crunch time, if we get down big, all right, then you guys can play through me. Right? I'm gonna call some plays for me. I'm gonna help settle this. But in just a normal game like this one, where they pretty much led throughout and they just played the game of basketball and let their game come to them. Candace Parker, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 block, 7 turnovers, unfortunately, plus minus a plus 12 in this game. She just did what needed to be done. Quickly led the Sky in scoring in this game in 19 points on 6 for 10 scoring, but you wouldn't necessarily have felt that because it's just the Sky really are a team they allow their depth to keep them in games. The Sky are one of those teams that they can go 8 or 9 deep every single game, and it's some fall off, but there's the way that they play together, the way that they execute on both sides of the ball. It's just beautiful basketball. But you also have some games where it's tighter games, and you may only see them go 7 or 8 deep, right? And then at that point, it does become a little bit more top heavy, but they still execute and play together. But yeah, and Misaman as well. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers in this game, plus minus of plus 10. She did her thing as well. Misaman, to me, I think somebody, not to say she's disappointing, because that's not the word that I want to use. I'm surprised they don't use her more. This is a former finals MVP. She was 3 for 7. She only got 7 shots in this game. Now, Candace Parker only got 8 shots in this game. But with that being said, like sometimes the Sky, I think, don't use her to her best ability in a way that I would think that they would, just considering how versatile she can be. But, you know, it kind of is what it is there. Steve O speaks like Emma too. Emma's good. Emma's good. You're right, Haize. Chicago gets no love when in the NBA, in the WNBA, and that's wild. Yeah, none. The reigning champions have now tied for the best record in the NBA, the WNBA in every statistical category, the Sky are represented. They're in like the top 5 in every statistical category by team stats in the WNBA, and they don't talk about them for real, right? They talk about them after big games. They talk about Candace because people just think Candace is retiring, but for the most part, the conversation is a lot of aces. You get some Mercury in there. You get a lot of because Sue Bird's about to retire, things like that. But like you would think that this, as the reigning champions and the champions who come in and still have had one of the best records in the WNBA this season, that people would talk about them more. They were undefeated in Commissioner's Cup there for play there for a while. They are going to the Commissioner Cup championship. They play that on the 26th, I believe, against the Aces. They beat the Aces. They had the biggest comeback in WNBA history, and it's like they can't get their damn respect. It's crazy. It's crazy. The Fever are going to win it. Oh, there's a lot of people who think that as well. I love the fact that the Fever and Sky rivalry is actually building, and rivalry in sports just always makes it more fun. Always makes it more fun. We use Emma like a Google guy. I kind of get it. We use Emma more in the playoffs. This is true. This is definitely true. Definitely true, Steve-O. All right, Haize, I got to head out. Hope you have a great rest of your day, bro. All right, Copy. Thank you for joining, bro. Steve-O speaks. Yes, the future champions. That's funny. That's hilarious. That's funny. All right, what else we got? See him in the playoffs. Man, listen. I'm telling you right now, and I know this is me being a hometowner or whatever. There's not a team in the WNBA that wants to see the Sky in the playoffs. Their depth alone has to terrify many teams in the WNBA. Just think about it, right? The fact that you have a team on the other side of the ball that literally can go about 10 deep when you're like the Aces are super top heavy, right? We're tied for the best record in the WNBA, but they're super top heavy, meaning like if their best 3 players have bad games, they're completely easily beatable. Whereas the Sky, if Candace Parker does have an off game, we can go to Mieseman more, right? We can go to Azra, right? We can go to Stevens. She can pour it in. Dana Evans, if she has a big game for us, right? Alaman also can get us some buckets. And also Gardner, one player that I like, Lee, averaging only 5 minutes per game. I want to see them use her a little bit more, but they don't even use Mieseman as much as they should. So I kind of understand it. But like Lee Aru, once she gets it together, and they trust her a little bit more, she gets used to the speed of the game, whatever it is that's keeping her from necessarily getting more minutes, she can cause some bad matchup problems in favor of the Sky, right? I just want to see them. I wonder if they're bringing her along slowly now, with plans to maybe, next season, maybe use her a little bit more. I don't know what they plan on doing with that, but you would think for what they did to get her here, that they would use her more. Like as right now, she's averaging 5.8 points per game. She's played 9 games this season. In those games, she is averaging only 1.4 shot attempts per game. She's hitting that at a 38.5% clip, which isn't great, right? That's not great at all. But when you're only getting less than 2 shots a game, it's kind of hard to work yourself in rhythm. I just thought that they were going to use her in a different way, I guess, when I heard that she was coming and joining the team this season. And that just hasn't come to fruition. Now, I'm sure they pay people who are supposed to be a lot smarter than me to make those decisions. So I'm sure there's a reason for that. But for me, it's just a little head scratching. It makes me wonder a little bit like what the plan is and what's going on down there. But that's just me. Chicago sports don't get respect in general. That's a story for another day. What up, Haize? Honestly, they don't talk real basketball, period, let alone stellar WNBA teams. This is absolutely a fact, right? Absolutely a fact. They do not like. The thing is, right, with the WNBA, and I try to be fair in the way that I evaluate this, because I do know, like, hey, I have a little bit difference of a view on it because I am a really big WNBA fan, right? Really big. I'm not one of those fair weather fans. I don't only just watch it because like basketball, NBA isn't going on. Like I literally watch there are some times when WNBA has certain games on, when on Sundays, like, which it's still weird that they do air some games Sunday versus NFL football, when most bigger sports even try to stay away from that. But there are absolutely times where I will watch a WNBA game if I think it's going to be a better game than what's on right now. I would absolutely watch that over over a bad football game. And I know that makes me a bit of an outlier there, right? Because some people just watch in this nation, we just watch, we're programmed to just watch football regardless. But that's not always me, right? If a great WNBA game's on and whatever's on Sunday on football isn't that good, guess what I'm watching? Guess what Haize is watching? Haize is watching that WNBA game. So that's just what it boils down to for me. Like I said, I know not everybody's that way, and I don't expect them to be, but it kind of is what it is. Lee can literally be so dominant. Yes, absolutely she could. Absolutely she could. Lee can be dominant as heck. It's just that like I said, they may be trying to figure out the best way to use her, and if that's the case, cool. If she's not quite ready for the W, which I've always fought back against, like it's not the same as the NBA, right? When players come over from foreign leagues in the NBA, they do have to get used to the style that the NBA plays. But I feel like, and this may be, let me know in the chat if you guys agree or disagree, but I really do feel like the WNBA game, like women's basketball game, is closer to what international women's basketball is than NBA is to international men's basketball. Does that make sense? I feel like it's a closer game to where it doesn't take as much of a steep learning curve for players in the WNBA as it is for, like I said, those foreign players who come over to the NBA from foreign leagues. That just made, now I don't get to watch a lot of foreign women's basketball. I used to because I grew up overseas. But for those that do, yeah, it's let me know what you guys think. Now let me go back here. All right, let's see. I want to see if I make sure I didn't miss anything. Who do you got? Team Wilson or Team did? Oh, well, see, I should have waited to stream. I didn't get to see if they picked the teams. I didn't get to see who is it. Give me 1 second. If you guys have it, drop a link in the description so the team so I can take a look at that. I didn't see it before I started streaming. The way Coach Wade is playing the starters at only 29 minutes a game is strategic, saving their legs for the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, for sure. And then when you have a team this deep, right? When you have a team that's this deep, you can do that. You can afford to do that, and that's not a problem. You can afford to do that, absolutely. And it's smart. It's smart coaching if that's the case. Because what the playoffs do in every sport, the playoffs get more intense. They get closer. They get a little bit more testy. So him saving the legs and the fact that we have a team that has this level of depth to where we're gonna have probably the freshest legs, like the Aces, because they're so top heavy. Do not be surprised if the Aces face a tough series that they're just wiped out by the time they make it to the finals, if they do. But the Sky having the depth in which this team does is going to be really dangerous. Steve-O says, facts, Nate. I think the WNBA needs a Malice at the Palace one time. Come on, man. No. Come on, man. Hey, the Sky are very good, but they have to stop the careless turnovers. But Cunningham was low-key pissing me off. Go Sky all day. The coaching, I mean, not coaching. The refereeing in this one was a little bit weird as well. Officiating. But yes, they do have to stop the turnovers. That is one thing about the Sky that they do. Like, what did I say? It's probably 7 turnovers in this game. Like, and then even in the last game too, there was a bunch of turnovers by a lot of players, or some players almost close to double-digit turnovers. Like, yeah, we definitely got to tighten in on the turnovers for sure. I don't know how many turnovers per game the Sky are averaging. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Let's see. I can't find it off the top of my head. I'll look for it later. That's the top of a pre-record episode. But yeah. I get what you're saying, and I agree because Gardner moved over here pretty easily. I agree because Gardner moved over here pretty. Yes, for sure. The thing that I would say about the international, like, is that, like I said, it's so close of a game, right? That I don't know if that's why I don't go to that being why Lee isn't getting more minutes. I think that it has to be something else. Maybe they just want to better incorporate her, but she physically at least should be able to dominate. physically she should be able to. That's a big woman, right? And I don't mean that derogatory. I mean that's a big, strong woman. But yeah. All right, what else we got? They're doing it live right now on ESPN. They're doing it live right now. Let's see if I can get that. I'm gonna say let's see if I can get it up. That wouldn't have come off right. But let's see if I can let's see if they have it up here where I am. Like a live thing. They don't have like a live tracker on it. I have to wait till afterwards. Yeah, shout out to the All-Star game next weekend as well. Oh, by the way, so if anybody's knowing, I will not be able to stream during the All-Star weekend. Just Renaissance man, Haize covers it all. True CEO, good job, bro. Chicago is in great hands. Let's go, Sky. I'm a Chicago sports fan for one. I love the game of basketball. So like, yeah, I'm gonna watch. I can watch 5 bums play basketball, honestly. But yeah, the Sky is just, and the WBA is a good brand of basketball overall. It's just ending. All right, so somebody put the teams in the comment for me. I'm just mad that they didn't hit the overall points. See, I don't bet. That's one thing about me. I'm too anal about my money, so I do not bet at all. I don't bet on any sport. I don't bet on boxing. I don't bet on any of that. So I'm able to just enjoy. I don't look at over-unders for real. I don't care about none of that because guess what? I don't bet. I played fantasy basketball one year, and it took so much out of my enjoyment of the game, I never went back to play it because I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like caring about how many shots or 3-pointers Gilbert Arenas hits. That's how long it's been, by the way. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I don't want to. I want to just do and enjoy it. And yeah, so I really like Rebecca Gardner. This team is stacked. Yeah, this team we are stacked from top to bottom. Period. The Chicago Sky are the deepest team in the league in the W. And that's not even, and the funny thing is that I can say that without even worrying about somebody coming back in and trying to say, oh, but this team, no, the Sky are hands down the deepest team in the W. That's not a question. That's not up for discussion. That you can talk about top heavy, you can talk about teams having bigger stars or better stars right now, but one thing you can, that nobody can objectively, and people can try to make a non-objective argument about anything, but there's not one person that can objectively say that there's a team that's deeper than the Chicago Sky. All right, so let's see what we got. Team Stewart, Coach James Wade, which we know. Captains Breonna Stewart, Sylvia Fowles. We got. Wait, no, that's the draft order. Okay, yeah. Draft order reserves. What? All right. So on Team Wilson, we got Hedman's coaching, Asia Wilson, Sue Bird, the captains. They got Candace Parker, Kelsey Plum. I never pronounce Nika. Ryan Howard, Derica Hanbury, Vander Sloots on that team, Ariel Atkins, Brianna Jones, and Tasha Howard. All right, cool. Now on Team Stewart, we got Brianna Stewart, Sylvia Fowles, Jackie Young, John Quell Jones, Sabrina is on that team, Jewel Lloyd, Kalia Copper, Jesus, Skylar Diggins, Elisa Thomas, Emma Meeseman's on that team. Looking at the rosters as they shape up right now, I gotta go Team Wilson. The fact that you got Candace Parker, Ryan Howard, Sloot on that team, that's a deep team. Kelsey Plum's on that team as well. Oh man, listen, I gotta go Team Wilson. Check the Discord. I can't check it right now. I gotta go Team Wilson though. The Aces in the Sky are my picks for the finals, but I'm worried, bro. The Aces are nice. The Aces are nice, but the depth, right? Our depth is what's going to push us over the Aces. The Aces can't really mess with depth. Milton says he's getting static. Is anybody else getting static in the chat? Leave a comment. Let me know how it sounds. If I got to reset the audio again. That's a big ass team. Yeah, that is a big ass team. But they're still quick though. Oh, Discord got it up. Man, I was hoping Kai and Candace will end up on the same team personally, but Sloot and Candace are on the same team, so that's cool. That's gonna be a fun game to watch. I hate that I won't be able to stream live. I really do hate I won't be able to stream live. All right, hold on. Y'all, let me know if you still have it. I'm tired of Restream. Restream sucks. I hate streaming live because there's always some crazy shit that happens. Let me know if you guys are still getting the static. But that's a big ass team. Yes, absolutely big ass team. One of the best to ever do it, Mr. So Exclusive, incredible influence, my brother from another mother, CEO Haize. That's Maddie from the Maddie Mo Show. What's going on, bro? Thank you for hopping in here. Even though I know you're not a Chicago Bulls or probably a Chicago Sky fan, I appreciate you, brother. Good static. Like, it's really just Restream. Like, that's all it is. Like, Restream really be fucking up. And I don't know why it does what it does. Like, I really don't know why. Damn cat. But yeah, so those all-star lineups it's gonna be a fun game. Like, that's really just what it boils down to. That is going to be a fun game. I guarantee you this: the WNBA All-Star game is probably going to be better than the NBA All-Star game. Skylar is really good on the Mercury. It's crazy she called her coach a clown, but after today, she definitely deserves her All-Star spot. Tarazi not looking like no All-Star. Like Tarazi, remember the last time we played the Mercury is she got ejected, right? So like she just maybe it's just the sky just get under her skin. Maybe we're just in her head. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the Chicago Sky just in Tarazi's head, and then she lost her shit. Like what it was in the first quarter, she got ejected last game. This game she just didn't play well. Maybe after whooping their ass in the final, she's a little shell shocked. Maybe that's what's happening there. Maybe that's what's happening. Yeah, gotta support always, baby. I like to hear your quality points. I appreciate that. Cap, what's Cap? What's Cap? Yeah, Skylar is out there. Yeah, she's out of there. Like the thing is, right? And that's I don't. So the one thing with the Mercury is this, right? And the one thing with the WNBA in general is that when players move, right? It's so easy to create super teams in the WNBA, right? It's extremely easy to create super teams in the WNBA because there's not a lot of teams, right? And we're expanding, right? I don't know if they've officially announced that was official or still just talk, but not that many teams in the WNBA. There's so many players that come in every single year in the league that don't end up even making the team. We're talking about first round draft picks in the WNBA that don't end up sticking with their team, right? And so some of those players end up developing or they leave for a while, they come back. It's just extremely easy to create super teams in the WNBA. Now, when Skylar leaves, whatever she goes to, I guarantee you she's going to go to a team that's going to create a WNBA team. She's leaving for sure. Absolutely. Who's MJ? Nah, bro, Curry was going crazy. Zach, what are you talking about? We're not even talking what, huh? We're not even talking about NBA. MJ, what you talking about, bro? Oh, never mind. I did bring that up. I'm old, fam. Excuse my mind. You said, nah, bro, Curry was going crazy. Zach with the 360, LeBron with the game winner. The All-Star game was lit, bro. But the W gonna go off though. Here's my thing, right? As far as here, what I meant by that, let me qualify that. So the NBA All-Star game is a spectacle, meaning players do a bunch of dunks. They try to get these alley-oops. They try to get these highlight plays. I'm talking about just a basketball game. That's what I mean by a better basketball game. Those 360s and stuff, those are cool. That doesn't make a better basketball game. The women in the W are going to actually play basketball, right? It's going to be a better basketball game. It's going to be a more competitive basketball game, in my opinion, right? The All-Star game in the NBA is this WWE type WrestleMania spectacle. Whereas I feel like the WNBA All-Star Game is more about let's put the best players in this league on teams together and let's have the best game we can put on. That's how I feel about it. So that's the difference in what I mean by that. But you're not wrong as far as like the 360 and everything. I honestly think Tarazi isn't that good no more. She's not, and that's fine. Like she's been in the league forever, right? If players in the NBA played as long as she's played, they would have been retired. They wouldn't be expected to still be good. That's another thing with the WNBA game that I put over the NBA game is that these women are able to play at a high level for much longer, and that's because the game isn't just based off athleticism and how high you can dunk. Diana Taurasi is 39 years old. She just turned 39 last month. What player in the NBA at 39 would still be playing even at the level that she is? Still averaging 16 points per game, 4 assists per game, 3 rebounds per game, a half a steal per game. Like, there's not a lot of NBA players that can play that late into their career. And so Diana Taurasi's had a hell of a career. She's a legend in the sport of basketball. But yeah, it may be time for her to hang it up. She's looking a bit, and I don't mean that as like a shot, but you can tell her age. Exactly. Just play the game. MJ says, "LO, it's all good." I thought, oh no, not for you family, bro. I'm never finna go Petty Roosevelt on you. Never. You ain't never got to worry about that. Yeah, DT needs to retire. Give some new blood a chance for that roster spot. Yeah. What and before we leave, so this would be the thing before we leave. Already streaming for 41 minutes. What do you guys honestly think about the WNBA expanding? I'm of two minds of it, right? In some ways, I look at it and say the WNBA isn't supporting the teams that they do have to the best of their ability yet. Still hard to get merch for teams, right? Merch is very rare. There are times where you can go to games and there's not much merch there, right? WNBA teams as well travel. The Sky were just stuck about a month ago in an airport for 12 hours. That would never happen in any other professional sport. So in my mind, it's like, because it costs money to start new teams. Like, yeah, eventually they generate new money for the league as well, but it costs a lot of money to start new teams. We're not supporting the teams that we have to the best of ability yet. But then the other mind that I see it is that the WNBA expanding could be good for the overall health of the league long term. I don't know what it's going to do immediately, but long term, it's probably better for the health of the league. We've had so many teams, new expansions, retractions. It feels like in the WNBA, like we're going to expand to these 2 teams potentially, and then 2 other teams are probably going to fail within 5 years of that happening. So I'm of two minds for it. I can see it from both sides, but let me know what you guys think about the WNBA expanding. Let me know if you think that it is going to fix a lot of issues, because like I said, I'm of two minds. I can see both sides of it. And I hope that it does work out for them, because this league needs to grow, right? We should want to see it grow. We should want to see it expand. We should want to see it hit new heights. But the awareness of the WNBA, as right now, is at such a low, and maybe the markets that they're expanding in is going to help. I've always said that for me, one of the things that I think hurt the WNBA early on, and this is kind of fault of David Stern, but he was trying to do his best, is that they try to make this the NBA. They try to use the same model of the NBA and just put women in that place instead, where the women's game has always been different than the men's game. Always been different than the men's game. It's always had its own different states and cities where it's bigger in than others. Going to these huge markets, trying to initially with the WNBA that were big markets for the NBA, I think ended up hurting the WNBA more than it helped it. And now we're starting. It's fixed. It's getting fixed now. It's not fixed yet. But let me know what you guys think about that down below. And then that'll be kind of the last conversation we have. Brian Williams says, great. What's going on, Brian Williams? Steve O Speaks says they need to find out this WNBA first before they think about expanding. That's kind of where my head is with it as well. But like I said, I can understand it. I love the WNBA expanding, but they need to fix so many issues. Yes, so many issues with this league, right? The funny thing is, it'd be different for me if the issue with the WNBA was the quality of the product. That's not the issue here, right? The issue with the WNBA isn't the quality of the product. The basketball on the court is great. And you would think that with a quality product, it'd be kind of easy to fix these other things, but it hasn't been yet. And hopefully they get the people in the right position to fix that and going forward, so that's not an issue. but the quality of the game is top notch in my opinion. Steve-O speaks, but they may try to try it out. Yes, they may just have to try it out. Sometimes you have to take that leap to reap the rewards, right? You can't play it safe all the time. So I understand that from that as well. CJ True said might be good for insinuating young talent, similar to how the Liberty marketed Lobo and Pondexter. That's a great point as well. Amazing point there. Do you think the Sky have any weaknesses besides themselves? Besides themselves? Well, the turnovers for sure, which is something we talked about earlier. I think that's for sure a weakness with the Chicago Sky. Outside of just the weaknesses, I look at their inability to hold on to leads, even in this game, right? Came out to a big lead. The Mercury couldn't score. They went on a 5-minute scoring drought at the end of the first quarter. Then the first 2 quarters of the first half flip-flop, right? The Sky had a bad quarter, but they were able to come back in. They did hold on to the lead. They won every quarter but the second, so it's hard for me to use it in this game. But there have been a lot of games where they just haven't held on to the lead in the way that they need. Those are the 2 things that I think. But those things are still themselves, I think. They probably should. There just isn't enough revenue going into the teams that already exist. However, if they relocate to smaller market teams to big markets, it could help. Maybe, I don't know. See, I think when the WNBA has been in huge markets before, it's hurt, I think. But, I could be wrong on that. I'm just going over it. So, for example, last year, right, the WNBA made $60 million in 2021, right? $60 million in 2021. The NBA is in the billions, right? Let me just for, and I don't expect it to be even near the NBA, but I'm just using it for a comparison piece. The NBA made $1.6 billion last season in revenue. Let's look up what's the smallest sport in the States. Let's look up MLS revenue. Soccer isn't huge in the sport in the States. It's not big either. $1 billion for the MLS last season. $1 billion for the MLS last season. MLB is out of this world, so I'm not even going to look that up. So, I mean, you know what? Just for shits and giggles, let's look at what the big 3 made in revenue. Let's see what the big 3 made in revenue. I can't find the big 3's revenue. Probably don't report it. Let's see. Let me change this. Okay, here it goes. The big 3, $66 million in gross revenue. $66 million for the big 3, and the WNBA's revenue was $60 million. The big 3 is a more profitable league than the WNBA. Something needs to happen. Something needs to happen. I just blocked him. Don't worry about it. Smaller cities would do better at this point. People need that in smaller cities. Yeah, I agree with that. K. Cree says, I think smaller markets is better because less competition with their brother teams. That's a good point as well. Jackson, Tennessee could support a team. Yeah. I mean, hell, Tennessee in general. Like, look at what the Volunteers do. Like, that's a huge women's basketball city. And maybe that's what they've done that in some, right? But look how long it took the WNBA to get to Connecticut, and we know what UConn's women's basketball means to women's basketball. Like, just think about that, right? Think about that. So maybe they need to look at what college towns and cities have huge women's basketball fan bases. Maybe that's something they can do, right? Kentucky could use one too. Brian says Jackson, Mississippi. We'll see. The thing about the WNBA though is that it's still around. right? It's still kicking. Whatever it's had to do, it's still surviving. I also think that at some point, if the WNBA can get a more solid TV deal, right? The game's airing on Twitter, the game's airing on Facebook Live. Like, I get it, and it's good that they're still getting those. Don't get me wrong. There's absolutely amazing that they're still getting those games to the people who want to watch those games. But it's some things like that I think that, they're missing opportunities for revenue. And that even means, hey, if it's you got to make a syndication deal with the TV, but it's going to be on actual TV where people can watch it, I would think that would generate revenue than the Twitter live games, right? Like, how much revenue is the WNBA really getting from airing games on Twitter? Right? That's like I don't mean just like co-broadcasting there. There are games in the WNBA that the only place you can watch it watch it live was Twitter. Now, WNBA League Pass is one of the best values if you're an actual WNBA fan, because it's only $25 a month. And if you are a League Pass subscriber, I think add it on for only $8 a month or something like that. But yeah, it's something got to work. Something got to work. Oh, this is a great suggestion from Brian Williams here. Tunica would be amazing. That is absolutely true, brother. Absolutely true. Steve-O says, I'm tired of finding ways to watch games. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks the ways that we got to watch games sometimes, right? Like, I had to download football TV to watch the Aces versus Sky game live. Luckily, I got a free trial, so I didn't have to pay anything. But the last time I was in the Sky played, I had to download that to watch the game live. That's crazy, right? And then the Commissioner's Cup last year aired live on YouTube. Now, YouTube, as somebody who makes a lot of revenue from YouTube, can be, but that's for me. That's not for these corporations, right? So we'll see. But that's it. This was one of the biggest turnouts for a live stream. I've only done 2 live streams, so let me not act like I've done like 5 of them for the Chicago Sky. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow the show. The social media for this show is Sky Central Pod on every we're only on Twitter right now, so be on the lookout for that. If you do want to email the show and get your thoughts in about the WNBA, about the Sky in general, you can do that at chicagoskypod@gmail.com. Right? No, Chicago Sky Central. I'm still getting used to it. Let's start all over. All right, start over. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at Chicago Sky Pod on Twitter. That's where we're at on social media. If you want to send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, Chicago Sky Central @gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave us a text and or voicemail, make sure you say that you're leaving it for the Sky. The number to do so, 773-270-2799. But that is it for Chicago Sky Central today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys so much for supporting the W in the way that it deserves and needs to be supported. So thank you for that. But I'm Haize. You can follow me personally at CEO Haize on every social media platform. But that is it. Peace, guys. I will see you lovely and beautiful people when we play again Tuesday. I'll see what I can do Tuesday. But definitely I'll have an episode out Tuesday night after the game.